Hi there, gang. Today we look at the crucial role hobbies and interests play outside of your work, outside of your business, and unlocking happiness. This is the 30. Thanks for being here. Well, welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello, gang. Thank you for being here on another episode of the 30. We're episode 165, and the 30 is where we embark on an unenlightened journey into the world of leadership development. I am your host, Patrick. Thanks again for showing up. Thanks again for making sure that you are liking and sharing this broadcast. Do me a huge favor, go ahead and do that now. Like, share, tell folks that the 30's on. If you're watching us from YouTube, make sure that you not only like the broadcast, but subscribe to our channel at the Jackman Group LLC on YouTube. The goal of the 30 is certainly to provide relevant and valuable information to help you, our viewers and listeners, enhance your personal, professional, and spiritual lives. Drop me a comment. I'd like to hear from you throughout the broadcast. And then after that, you can simply send me an email if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you have some topics for upcoming shows. We greatly appreciate that. So today's topic, it's a topic that I was looking at LinkedIn, and someone made a great post in terms of the things that we do, and then when we pass on, then it's like we weren't here. But I want to cover some of the things on that, and I want to talk specifically about, in this episode 165, unlocking happiness, because we're all focused. We all want to be happy. We want to have joy. We want to have a good life, right? But how do we unlock happiness? What do we do? And what role does hobbies and interests play outside of work? What role do they play? And I want to hear from you. What hobbies and interests do you have that brings you joy outside of working, outside of running a business, outside of ministry, if you're involved in ministry? What roles, what hobbies, what interests do you have? I'll talk about some of the things that I do, and I'll talk about some of the strategies that I can give you to help you, because we're all caught up in this world of doing things. We're all caught up in this fast pace. Today it seems like things are going faster. It seems like there's more uh, emphasis on making sure that we are working long hours, running a business. We're doing multiple things, and it seems like if we can never get caught up in the things that we like and the things that we enjoy. So if we continue going the way that we are going, sometimes we have seems like if we need more hours. We have 40 hours, and it seems like if we need more hours, right? We're always going. We're always going. We have 24 hours in a day, and sometimes we hope that it was 26 or 27 or even 30 hours. Some of us sometimes we work 40 hours a week. Some people do. Some of us work 60 hours. Some of us work more than that. But it seems like if we are doing a lot more and neglecting the things that bring us joy and happiness, bring us fulfillment in life. So we're going to explore that in today's episode. We're going to take a deep dive. I'm going to talk about some of the strategies that I use. I'm also going to talk about some of the things that I like to do, right? Because it's important to really talk about these things, to really do them, not just talk about them, but do them. If you are a leader or if you're running a business, if you're a leader of teams, if you're a leader of an organization, we know that it can be very challenging because it seems like the more that you do, the greater the expectation. The more success that you have in leading a team and organization, the greater the expectation, not only from your teams, but also from the organization. It seems like if we're on that cycle of doing things, the more that we do, the more success, the more the expectations, which means now that we are neglecting the things that we like to do, the things that we enjoy doing. And then if you add kids to it, and if you add other responsibilities to it, seems like we're always going. There's no stop to it. It's always running, always on the grind, always trying to move forward and succeed. We're always trying to up the other person, and there's no stopping to it, right? There's no end to it. We all want to do more. We all want to have greater success, and there's no end to it. And as a result, what we used to like doing, we don't do anymore. What we used to enjoy that brought us happiness and joy, we don't do those things anymore. So let's talk about what are some of the things that we like to do, things that you like to do that brings you joy, that unlock the door to happiness. So let's take a deep dive and that, and I hope that you can share what are some of the things that you enjoy doing personally, right? What are some of the things that you hope to get back to that once made you happy, that once brought you joy, that once that you enjoy being around people and doing things? What are some of these things that bring you joy? What are some of the hobbies that you have or interests that you have outside of work? Because I know from personal experience, I used to work, and my theory was, uh, I may not be the smartest person in the room, but my claim to fame was I would outwork you. So that was my joy, right? But it was crazy because I all I did was just work. Yes, I was successful in the things that I did, but something suffered. My personal life suffered. My relationships with friends and family suffered because all I did was just work. And those that didn't work, I saw them as slackers. Do you mean that you're going to take time off? What does that mean? Are you serious? Come on now. You got to work. So that it was crazy, but that was my mindset. And I know that's the mindset of a lot of you that are watching, that are listening, is that all you do is work. All you do is take the kids to practice or to band or to do all these things that you're doing, but you're not focusing on yourself. You're not focusing on the things, the hobbies that you used to do, the interest that brings you joy and happiness. So drop in the chat. I want to hear from you. What are some of the things that brings you joy, that brings you happiness? That you can sit down and says, I did ABC today, And I went back to the point where I was actually happy and joyful about those things that I did. Let's look at some comments here. Alfreda says, in my experience, you have to have a positive mindset in order to be a successful entrepreneur. Absolutely. I believe that 100%. But let's talk about, Alfreda, what are some of the things that brings you joy and happiness? What are some of the hobbies that you do, right? That fulfill brings you to having a more fulfilled life. And that's what we are going to be talking about today. What are some of the things? What are some of those things? And how can we do more of them? For for me, some of the things that bring me joy and happiness is really relaxing, sitting down with my wife and just chilling, not doing anything, having mindless conversation, right? Having a conversation, driving somewhere where it's her and I in the car and we're just driving with no agenda. Those are some of those are some of the things that brings me joy, brings me happiness. Some of the hobbies that I do, I love, and you've heard me said this if you are a regular viewer of the show, I love what we call soccer, but more importantly, in the word, it's called football, right? I love watching. I used to play, can't play anymore as I used to. I used to coach. That was something that brought me joy. That was a great interest of mine. Honing young minds, preparing them not just for soccer or football, but preparing them for life, giving them the tools necessary for life, life skills. Yes, teaching them the game, winning, right? Because that's important too. But more importantly, using the game to instill life skills. That brought me joy. That was an interest of mine that helped me to really be joyful about those things. I love on Saturday mornings, sometimes waking up at 7:30, watching the Premier League. That's a hobby of mine. That's an interest. That brings me joy, especially when my team wins. Man City. When they win, I'm happy, right? That brings me tremendous joy. So, but just getting up in the morning and just viewing that, just watching it, going back to the simple things, because we can be so caught up in life. We can be so caught up in what we call the rat race. We can be so caught up in the grind that we take away from the little things, our hobbies and interests that brings us happiness and joy and bring us fulfillment in the things that we do. Those are critical. So just getting up in the morning, Saturday mornings, and just watching the game, a couple of games, that brings me joy. Just watching, sometimes watching television where I don't have to think. I'm not going to tell you what the shows that my wife and I watch, but we enjoy watching mindless shows where we don't have to think, where we can just laugh. It's about laughter. It's about having fun, right? Having fun is a critical piece of bringing you joy. Some people like golf. Some people like to go out and um, play golf. That's their hobby. I wish I could play more. I wish I was better at it, right? As opposed to losing the balls all the time and saying four, right? I that's a dream of mine is to really play better, but maybe someday. I just don't play enough. But some people love playing golf. Some people love to just quilt. There's a neighbor of ours here, Judy. She loves to crochet, right? I think that's how it's said. But she enjoys that. That brings her joy. That brings her happiness. That fulfills her. That's an interest. That's a hobby of hers. And she enjoys doing it. Another thing that we like to do is that with our neighbors, Jim and Judy, we love playing cards with them, playing games, having fun while being competitive. Of course, you just don't have fun. You got to be competitive, right? What's the sense of that? So, but we enjoy that. We set time to it to really enjoy it. That brings us joy and happiness. So, what are some of the things that you do as opposed to exiting from doing grinding, what they call grinding all the time, 24/7? What are some of the things that you like doing? Some people like to play the piano. Some people like to play the guitar, right? That's not my thing, but some people like that. They enjoy that. The stress of it in terms of reducing stress, because we live in a very stress environment. We're full with everything around us, right? Can be so stressful. Sometimes going to the grocery store can be so stressful because you're putting up with people talking craziness, just everything. A lot of things that we do can be so stressful. Just driving sometimes can be so stressful because people cut you off. And so we live, sometimes our lives can be so full of stress. Grinding 24/7 creates stress. So, what are some of the things that you do to help relieve that stress? Let me see what uh, my dear wife says. Watching our favorite TV shows together. That brings her joy. That brings me joy. Alfreda says, I love watching football and basketball. Most importantly, comedy shows. Awesome, Alfreda. What are some of your favorite comedy shows? Drop that in the chat, right? Maybe someone would like to know what are some good shows to watch. So, but these are things that you can do, simple things that you can do, that you can go back to help take care of you. Your self care is critical. Taking care of you is very important. We focus so much on taking care of others, the welfare of others, which we should. We should serve others with the greatest capacity that we can. It's very important in serving and taking care of others. That's critical. But we also need to take care of ourselves. We need to really take time out to focus on downtime, having some downtime, turning this off, right? Making sure that we're not um, on social media except when the 30's on. It's important that you watch this show, this broadcast. Make sure that you watch it live or in replay. But unplug. It's important for us to unplug. Have a time where we take away from social media, from emails. If you're like me, I get a plethora of emails. And sometimes I have to take a step back and says, okay, I need some me time. I need some time to really unplug and have downtime for the betterment of my mindset. I love to go in the backyard or the front yard, and I love mowing, right? I love the outdoors, mowing the lawn, doing things in terms of taking care of the grass. That helps me. That's part of my interest. It's part of my hobby, but it's also things that I have to do. But I do it with joy, I do it with happiness. I'm not dreading it. It's not something I'm grinding on. I can just, whether I'm pushing the lawnmower, I'm listening to some music, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to something, I'm listening to whatever it is. I'm listening to something to take my mind off of other things. Because if we don't do these things, we'll forever be focused on the grind. And that doesn't do us any good. All it does, it enhances our stress. It takes it to another level. And guess what? If we're so much focused on work and doing the things that we have to do business wise, right? Guess what can happen? Your stress level goes up, which can cause some conditions in your body, in your health. And when you're sick, you're no good to anyone. You're no good to yourself. You're no good to your family. You're no good to your friends. So you got to take care of yourself. You really have to. And if you pass on, right? If you're working for a company, guess what happens? immediately, yeah, they may say, oh, such and such was a great person, did a great job. But the next day, your office is cleared out and someone else takes that job, your position. Things that you've worked for all your life. Someone else just come in the next day, like you were not even there, right? So we got to take care of ourselves, folks. We really got to go back to doing the things that bring us joy, that brings us happiness, that brings us contentment in life, fulfill our lives. Let me see here again. My hobbies are home, decorating and shopping. Your grandkids, that's good. Yard work can be therapeutic. Absolutely. I love doing it, right? It is therapeutic because it gives me time to think, gives me time to really do the things that I need to do. So, what are some of the things? Here's some tips for you as you move forward and finding out uh, and pushing forward with those hobbies and interests that you have. Here's number one tip for you: find it. Find it. Identify some of the things that you enjoy doing. That's the number one tip that I have for you. Determine what are your interests, what are your hobbies that brings you happiness. Identify them, find them out. Number two, find time to do them. So number one is identify what you like. What are some of the hobbies that you used to do? Maybe you did them 2 years ago or 5 years ago. But find out what brought you joy at that point. What filled your life, right? What brought you happiness? Identify them, go back to them. Find time to do them. Folks, life can be very short. We could be here today and gone tomorrow. But you got to find time to do the things that you really like to do. Don't let time control you. You control your time. You set aside the time. So, number one, identify them. Number two, find time to do them. Number three, be intentional in doing them. Be intentional. Don't say, I'm going to start them now, and you do it this week, and next week you don't. That brings us to our fourth part of it, right? Our fourth point: be consistent. So you heard me talk about that 2 weeks ago, the importance of consistency. Be consistent in doing the things that you like to do. I told you I started working out about a month and a half ago, and I have to create a time. If I don't create a time and put it on my schedule, guess what? I will never do it. So I have to be intentional in making sure that it's on my schedule, and be intentional and be consistent that I do it over and over and over again, because my calendar can get full. Your calendar can be filled with the things that's around you, with grinding, right? With doing multiple things. I don't know what you do. It could be a job, it could be a business, it could be involved in ministry. I don't know. It could be with kids, right? It could be volunteering in the community. But you got to set aside time for you to do the things that you love to do. Hobbies, interests that brings you contentment, that brings you happiness, and be consistent in doing it. What is consistency? Doing it over and over and over again. So, those are some of the tips, right? Those are some of the things that I want you to focus on. Let's do this. We can do this together. You can do it. I know you can. If I can do it, I know you can certainly do it. Because again, I'm the one that thought that not working was a weakness, not grinding was a weakness. Taking vacations was a weakness. I was like, who take vacations? Crazy, right? A little twisted. That was me back then. I didn't understand that taking vacations and taking time out was important. I didn't get that. But it's important to our self. It's important for longevity. It's important to find happiness. It's important to our self-care. So, folks, find happiness by doing the things that you like to do. Hobbies, interests, find them, do them, be consistent with them, and be intentional with everything that you do. Lower that stress level. Find some others, find some friends, go walking with them, go exercising with them. Find the things that you like to do and do them. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait that until you can't do them anymore. We see it so often. People say, put off, I'm going to do the things that I want to do after I retire, right? I'm going to go on that trip after I retire, after I do this. I'm going to do this after. Well, that after never comes. It never comes. So I encourage you, folks. I encourage you to unlock your happiness by finding hobbies and interests, and do it now. I want to thank you for this episode as we focus on episode 165. I hope this was beneficial. I want to thank you for being here. Make sure that you like and share and watch it in replay. Make sure that you are here next week as we continue to focus on leaders and self, making sure that we can help you, that we provide relevant and valuable information as you move forward in your journey professionally, spiritually, and personally. So until then, I want to thank you for being here. Continue to support the 30. Continue to support the Jackman Group LLC, who is the producers of the 30. So thank you. If you want to get a hold of us, we'll be talking about continue our leadership journey on next week. Remember, we have some great announcements that's coming soon. We have a guest that's going to be with us on next week, and she's going to talk about some of the things, some of her experiences with some of the trainings and coachings that we have done over the years. So until then, if you want to get a hold of us, do me a huge favor, drop us a line, info@jackmangroupllc.com. That's info@jackmangroupllc.com. If you'd like to join our community, there it is. You can go to our website, jackmangroupllc.com. You can hit join community, and you'll be part of our community. You'll get the information that we want to share first. You'll be on our list to receive our newsletter, and you'll get a lot more advantages if you're part of our community. So family and friends, thank you again. May God bless you and your family, and be safe out there. We'll see you next week. Peace.